Folks, we are on the electric bike. This is my old truck 820 that I've converted into an electric bike using the BBS02 Bafang motor. I haven't really ridden it that much since I did the conversion last year. But we're going to try to fix that. We're going to do some more riding as the weather gets nice. It's a beautiful day today, close to 60, which is very nice for March. We are on the grounds of the old Embreeville State Hospital, which has since been torn down. If you follow my channel, you'll know that I've done a number of videos here. Back when the facility was still standing, we toured the buildings. The buildings are no longer there, they've been torn down. They're planning on putting houses here and open park area. But I can see we've had a lot of rain here recently. Rained pretty hard 2 days ago. Getting kind of washed out here. Let's just cruise around and we'll see what it looks like now with all the buildings gone. I did a drone video here, I think it was 2 years ago, 2022 I believe. Just after the buildings have been removed. Okay, here we are. Wow. Nothing here but piles of dirt. A lot of history here. This was the site of the old Chester County Almshouse or Poorhouse before it became Embreeville State Hospital. Let's pull in here. You can see this sort of parking area here. I think this was the entrance to the central building. It's the area right here, which was the main building. I think it was the newest building. Go around here. I should have looked at the map. I had a map of what the buildings were and where they were located. Cruise on up here. They used to have street lights which lined these roads here. It's almost like a little city in itself. They're building houses off to my right. That's a whole new community over there that they're putting in. It's a nice area for riding. Now look at that, there's the flagpole, that's still there. Several flagpoles actually. You know, there was a big radio tower up here too, that's gone, they tore that down. Cruise on up here. Oh, the area looks really different. I wanted to come up here to see whether I could spot any remains of where the tunnels used to be. They had these tunnels which connected underground to the different buildings. And I had people in my previous videos asking me if they had filled those tunnels in, and I assumed that they did. Not sure if we're going to see any signs of that. Wow, I'm having trouble getting my bearings here as to where the buildings used to be because it looks so different now. Huh. They had a pool in one of the buildings up here, which I did get on video. Interesting to see how they filled that in. sure they did. Let's see here, using my throttle here. Yeah. This is the building here, I believe, which had a pool at one time. We've toured most of these buildings at one time. This building stood right here. And that roadway went around back behind it. Yep, no sign of any pool. It's just a grass lot now, but that's where the building was. Let's go around here. You can see all the asphalt over there. Let's just go around here, all the big piles of asphalt. Some big hunks over there. Go back around the other side. Never went around the back side of this building here that once stood here. You see all the water here. I see looks like other tire tracks here. Motorcycle tracks, it looks like I see here. Well, somebody's been up here. No, I've never been back behind here. Look at the rocks down there. Don't know if you can see that on camera. Huh. Almost like a rock formation down in the woods there. Cool. Look at that. It's a lot of land here. When I say history, there's and not even a mile away from here. Oh boy, let me see if I can get around this mess. Let me try to go this way. Get through the muck. Ooh. All right, here we go. Awesome, we made it. The Stargazer Stone is nearby here. It's where Mason Dixon, when they did their surveying for the Pennsylvania-Maryland line, they used a point, apparently, I'm not sure exactly how it all worked, where they were able to set up and set their coordinates from. They created a stone, and they put it in a location, and they used that for apparently as a base to get their bearings from for coordinates. And it's now there. It still continues to exist today. They apparently walled it all, or somebody did, maybe a historical society, with a small stone wall, and there's a plaque on it. Not sure I want to get over there to see that today, since it's a little bit of a ride. It's kind of on private property, but it's not. Well, it's a trail you can go around this house, and then you can get around the property on this trail, and then you can go see the stone. I almost said Mason and Sullivan, which was a clock company, I believe. Let's go on down here. Certainly see no signs of any of the tunnels. They were all filled in. Road's kind of rough here. why I recommend, if you're going to go the electric bike route and you have a mountain bike, maybe a decent one, which I had already, the Trek 820 is a basic level mountain bike, but still a durable one. You might be better off just buying a kit to convert it. I did most of mine myself. I had a bike company locally here that actually helped me remove the bottom bracket. But I did most of the work myself. Put together a nice bike here for quite a bit less than a lot of cheap electric pre-built mountain bikes. Around $800, I think it was. And you got a decent frame, you got a really good bike here. It's going to stand up to the kind of abuse that I'm actually putting it through right now. Look at all the concrete piled here. What part of the building that came from. There was a, can I get around this? I'm going to go right around the edge here. This muck, right kind of through the water a little bit. And we'll just take it slow. We'll back down on the pedal assist so we don't spray our back with the water. This was the central building, by the way. I'm going around right here. This whole oval area here. There was a poorhouse cemetery here that when the poorhouse was torn down, and then Embreeville eventually was built here, that's the large state hospital. They moved the bodies, or they were supposed to move the remains to a location about a quarter of a mile or half a mile or so away from here in the Cheslin, what they call the Cheslin Preserve now. But from my understanding is they actually did find remains while they were excavating here to build. Ooh, that's a lot of water there. I'm not sure I want to go through that with the bike. I'm going to turn around, go back in the opposite direction. So they evidently did not get all of the remains. We do a little pedaling here. The cemetery that's over there now is marked, I think there's some 300 markers, but there was probably more bodies buried there which are unmarked. But these markers are all numbered. Now, I did do a video a while back on this this poorhouse cemetery. Unfortunately, the names that correspond with those numbers, the people who lay in those graves, are unknown now because there was a flood in a record house, or in the basement in Harrisburg. I guess maybe one of the Capitol buildings or one of the government buildings there, that destroyed those records. This is back in the 1970s. So unfortunately, those names have been lost to history. There are people, I think, who are trying to research, trying to at least find out the identities of some of these people in these graves, but I don't think they've found any more than a fraction of the names. Now, there is a grave down here that I'm going to show you. At least some people think it's a grave. Other people say, well, it's not, but I'll show you. We'll get down here. Well, I hear peepers. The spring peepers. They're little frogs already. The camera can pick that up. Boy, look at all the trees and stuff thrown in there that was torn up. That was one loud peeper. Keeps on peeping. Let's head over this way. We'll head back down. I'll show you where this grave is. It's an interesting story. Who's buried there? If she is even buried there. going to bump up the pedal assist here to 3 and shift into 3rd. We're going to be going downhill here. Let's shift into 4th. Boy, I opened the door this morning and said, man, I've got to get out and do something today. So this is what I've decided to do. It's late in the day, but now we have daylight saving time, so I can get out and do these things. We're going to have to take it easy going down this hill because of all these rocks from the washout in the rain. That right there, that opening you see right in front of me, I believe that was one of the tunnels that led down to, there were some utility style, or utility, I should say buildings that house utilities. Down there at the bottom of the hill, they had the heating system and all down there. And I did video that in the previous video too, but that, I believe that's where the tunnels went down. As you can see, it looks like they filled it all in. There's nothing left there. Tunnels were lined with concrete. So whether they actually tore the concrete out, don't know that for sure. Maybe that's what we saw up there, those piles of concrete. But the tunnels do definitely appear to be filled in. Anyway, right across here, you can see where it was dug up right here. Right down the hill. These buildings had been here for years. If you want to look up the history, you can find the history of Embreeville State Hospital. I've included some history in some of my earlier videos. The dates when it was open. I believe it was shut down in the 80s. Right around the same time that Penhurst was and all the other mental hospitals were shut down. And sat basically derelict and empty for all those years, for like 30 some years. Going down the hill here. And we're going to hang a right down here on this highway. Or road, just cut across here. Drop down a couple of gears here since you're going up a hill. One of the things that you want to do with these mid-drive motors is definitely want to do your shifting. More important on these than, say, a hub drive motor. But if you ride a bike, you already know how to shift. Now when you're over here, this is the area where I believe her grave is. There's the stone over here with a plaque on it. You see it? I'm going to take you off here. Let's take a walk over here. They have this whole area cleared off. It looks like they have flags there too. So, oh, it must be utilities. So marking utilities. So they're going to do something here, it looks like. Very interesting. This area was completely covered with brush and briars. Last time I was over here, I couldn't even find it. I wasn't even sure if it was still here. Here it is. We have daffodils growing around it. And you can see the plaque is here. Certainly looks like a grave to me. Some local historians don't agree. They think she might have been buried over in the cemetery from the poorhouse or the almshouse cemetery, like I said, a quarter mile away. But it certainly says that she rests right here. Her name was Hannah Freeman. She was known as the last of the Lenni Lenape, you can see here on the plaque, who died in 1802. The Historical Society put it here in 1909, as you can see. She was a colorful character from what I read. I'll leave a link to some history down in the comments. But she was supposedly the last Lenni Lenape. Probably wasn't, or was probably out of, but she was outspoken. She was a character. She lived almost like her ancestor did, where she would travel from town to town here in the area, where she'd sell her homemade baskets. She was an advocate for the her way of life. And when William Penn designed his charter, King George told William Penn, treat the Indians with respect, or treat the locals, indigenous, Native Americans, with respect. He said, you can't just take their land unless they desert it. When the last of the Lenni Lenape leave or desert the land, then you may take their land. Well, the Quakers, they just ignored that. They just moved right in. And she was, an advocate for the Lenni Lenape to try to at least keep that from getting out of hand. Now, when she died, then that was considered to be, that was it. That opened the floodgates up, and they were able to take whatever land they wanted. So that's, from what I understand, is what I read. Now, there may be other historical accounts of her and what she did and why she was so well known here in the area, but that's what I've read. So, is she buried here? Well, I don't know. And I suppose you could do ground penetrating radar to find out, and if she definitely is buried here, well, what do we do? Do we just treat this as a grave and just maintain it? Her last wishes were to be buried in a Lenni Lenape burial ground, and there is one apparently within a mile of here or so. But those wishes were not honored, and she was buried here on the property of the poorhouse. So maybe she ought to be removed if she is here and found to be here, and then buried in her ancestral burial ground like she wanted. We'll see what happens. I'm curious to see. They're actually turning this whole area, like I said, into a park area with some houses. Now, it appears the houses are already being built. I don't know if they're going to build any more. The ones we saw on the way up, or maybe the only houses they're going to build. The whole area is going to be a park. So I'm very curious to see as to what they're going to do with this this possible gravesite here. All right, let me put you back on the chest here. With such a beautiful day, you can hear the doves cooing all around me here. You can probably hear that on the camera. Well, there's a big tree fell over there. Maybe what was that, knocked over? Probably fell over. It looks dead. Look at that. Get a good look at the bike here. As a matter of fact, I'll take you back off my chest. I think the build turned out really good. I did a couple of videos on this. I've ridden it already once or twice. Haven't done too much with it though. You can see there's your Buffang motor down there. Go around the other side. It does have the cutoff for the switching of the gears, so it halts the power to the rear wheel for a second while you're switching gears, which is good. You want that. It's less wear and tear on your gear train there. Has power cut off on the brakes. This original brake here was included in the kit, and I've used that. You can see it's got the power cut off there. This one, I wanted to maintain the original shifter, so I used that's integral with this brake here, so I had to use additional brake cutoff here, which is right here in line with the brake line going through it. And then that also, when you use this will cut off the power, so you're not pushing against the motor when you're trying to brake. So the little headlight there, I might upgrade that to something a little brighter. It's small, doesn't light up too much. And there's our battery. I believe this is a 15 milliamp hour battery. I think it's a 42 volt or 48 volt. I forget what it is specifically. It's not the 52 volt, I know that. And I put my little bike lock right down here. I got a rack to put on the back, and then I have this bag for I have tire, inflation stuff here for in case of a flat tire. I have its inner tube in there and a CO2 cartridge to inflate it. And then I have my little horn. All right, let's go ahead and put myself back on, or put you back on my chest. And we'll just turn on the bike. And then we'll try to get back on the bike. I say try. That's the one thing I have difficulty doing. Here is get my leg back over the bike here. There we go. We're good. Definitely not a step through bike, which some of these electric bikes are. Oh, but on power assist, pedal assist 3, we'll just take off here. This bike will go over 30 miles an hour quite easily. Not really go that much faster than that, but it is fun. I'm going to switch to a higher gear here because we're going downhill now. Maybe drop the pedal assist down a bit. Now somebody waiting down there. What is it? Not the coppers, is it? As far as I know, are allowed to be here. Gotta go around this fence here. They don't want cars coming up here, of course. Probably have the fence there. It was open the other day when it came over here. How you doing? You can see up there. Maybe I'll take a run up there. Drop my gears down to a lower gear as I go up this little hill here. Put up the pedal assist, bump it up a little bit. Now this area back here is where we had the buildings which house utilities, really cool looking buildings with this one had like a silo looking thing on it. Again, I did do a drone video on this. These were locked up tight, so you couldn't really get into this one main building here, which is what stood right in front of me. But I was able to get into some of the other buildings which were wide open. And they were up here on my left. This facility in front of me right here is a PennDOT facility. It's been here for years. You can see all of what once was is no more. It's just all open ground now. All buildings were here. Oh, see, that truck went up there. That's interesting. It must be somebody working for the township. Not sure. Did he leave the fence open? I wonder if he did. Didn't say anything to me about being there on a bike. Wouldn't have expected him to. Yeah, he did leave the gates open, so. All right, folks, here we are back at the old van. It's gonna do it for this video. I intend to get out on this bike and do some more videos. Yeah, we get some nice weather moving in with the spring. Let me turn this bike off here. Well, hope you enjoyed our little ride here around what was once the Embreeville State Hospital. Folks, we will sign out now. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.